So, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Ghana Ninja Ballers. I'm here with my good friend. We're talking about that Canada Nigeria game. That game was like a movie. You blink, there's a goal. You blink, there's a goal. At the point, everyone expected the game to end maybe 2-1 or 3-1 before you see goal, goal, goal. The ended 4-1. How are you doing, Akwasi?
I'm doing well. Clinton, is good to be on the channel. We've been communicating for a while, so I get to make my debut finally. So it's good. We're here. We're happy. But no, it was definitely an interesting game. A tale of two halves, most definitely for that Nigeria-Canada matchup. But we'll talk about that here.
Yeah, yeah. Coming into that game, the first half especially, people were expecting Nigeria to pull up surprises. I know the game started first few minutes, Canada got the first goal. Then Nigeria pushed hard to get a equalizer towards the end of the first half, and it turned out that Canada dominated the entire second half, and we saw some mistakes and all that. Coming into this game, what were your thoughts? Were you expecting Canada to dominate, like score 4 goals in this game?
I wasn't. At the U17 women's level, there's like a running joke where if Canada sees Nigeria or France in their group, we know it's going to be a frustrating game. Maybe we draw, maybe we lose, but they've always been formidable. So I felt the first half was going to be what the game would be, maybe a few more goals. I
Right?
think that first half, if you look at Nigeria, they get the equalizer, but a
Okay.
lot of that half felt like empty calories, right? They would win the ball off of Canada in their half, but then some of their decision making leading to the final third just wasn't there. Whether they just decided to take long shots, they weren't dribbling into the space. I
Okay.
think both of them weren't really aware of how quick the other was. And
Okay.
that you kind of felt that because Canada was trying to pass through. Nigeria were swarming. The press was effective in the first half, but they'd win the ball in about 35 yards out. And instead of driving towards the box, it was just, okay, we have it, long shot, let's go. Maybe it's the height of the center backs, maybe it's just how they got the qualifiers, but I thought they had a lot of space where they could have maybe put the ball into more dangerous spots. They were winning all the bounces, but they weren't putting the ball. I said it on my live stream. If they put the ball into more chaotic spaces, they were winning all the bounces, and I thought they would have probably got another goal or two. So a good first half, but I think they definitely left a lot of meat on the bone in that first half.
Right. When I posted the score, because it's the under 17, a lot of Nigerians are not following the tournament. When
Mhm.
I posted the scoreline, people were like, what went wrong? What went wrong? What happened? The first half was okay. What happened in the second half? Can you watch the game? I didn't watch the game fully because I think I was on my way back home from the Kotoko game. So I couldn't
Mhm.
watch the game full game. What went wrong for Nigeria in the second half? That's my question for you.
For me, I would say when Nigeria, the press worked well and was confusing and making it frustrating for Canada. But if you're going to play a high pressing system, you need fresh legs or you need everyone to be on the same path. Canada was able to figure out how to pass through that first wave, and
Okay.
the midfield wasn't very existent in the second half. You could see that the players were running out of steam, and that was one of my points. If you watch my live when I was watching, Canada scores to go up 2-1, and I'm excited. And a second later, I'm like, wait, Nigeria, what are you? We've seen this the entire time. What's going on here? Why? What is happening? And I think that's what ultimately cost them the game. Just they had a good strategy, but they couldn't maintain it based off of just I won't say it was necessarily fitness level, but more so just they couldn't maintain that type of high pressure on them. And I don't think the coaching staff helped them making any substitutions to move them on from there. So I think that's where the second half not supplementing what they were trying to do in the first half and the second half, it didn't help them out there.
Okay, okay. So coming into this game, the Canadian team, I've seen how they play. They have some talented players. I've seen the highlights and I can see some intelligent players, especially the wingers and how
Mhm.
they know how to not to cross the ball. You can dribble if you have the space and all that. What are the expectations of Canadians looking at this team? Is it to go all the way to win the tournament or at least reach a certain stage for them to call the tournament a success?
Success for Canada right now is interesting. I think they'd want to at least get quarterfinals, semifinals, and see how they go against some of these top teams because of how qualification worked. They just had to win their group to make it through. So we didn't go through the U.S. or Mexico or Costa Rica, any of the top sides. We just had to win our group, and we did that. So they haven't they though this group has had a few more friendlies and training. I think for them, quarterfinals to semifinals would be success. Of course, we want to win. I would love for them to come away with another trophy. It's been a very successful year for women teams in Canada, but I think quarterfinals to semifinals, I'd say semifinals would be a success for this side based off of how they've prepared. That would be a good success for them because there's a lot of nice young players coming in. The system is starting to produce more, though there's still more out there. The system is starting to produce more players consistently here.
Yeah, for the Nigerian side, coming into this tournament, everyone was expecting Nigeria to at least, if they're losing against Canada, maybe a narrow defeat or a draw or
Mhm.
no one expected Nigeria to concede 4 goals. But we saw the signs there. The friendly games leading to the tournament against Paraguay and New Zealand. The first one was a 4-3 defeat, and the second
Mhm.
3-2 victory for Nigeria, which means they conceded 6 goals in 2 games. And that shows you that there's something wrong with the defense. If you look at the World Cup the qualifiers that led up to the World Cup, they were scoring a lot of goals. The goals they
Mhm.
conceded were avoidable, and most times they play against lower teams. So teams that are structured, that knows how to break defenses, I knew they were going to struggle, but I didn't expect them to concede up to 4. People were talking about the goalkeeper and all that. So going forward, what do you think Nigeria needs to change to, catch up to the other teams in the tournament?
Think Nigeria, based off the group that they're in, I think they do have a chance. I did rate coming in them, France, and Canada are about the same level, I'd say athletically. It just comes down to coaching. So
Okay.
I think they can hang around. And Samoa's in the group. And though Samoa scored 2 goals against France, they were just very efficient. They were dominated possession wise. So I do think Nigeria will get a win against Samoa. And I think if they can get anything out of this France game, even a draw, I think 4 points should get them out of the group because we're in 24 teams now. So I
Mhm.
think they can get out of the group. It's a tough first game for Nigeria. I do think coaching let them down in the game, but I do think if they stick to their tactics, I think they can get out of this group with 4 points. And then from there, then it's whoever you're playing against. Just hope it's not one of the Asian sides because right now North Korea,
They're
China,
crazy.
Japan,
They're crazy.
they look like they're ready to run through everyone.
Yeah, they're crazy. Which, apart from Nigeria, Canada, which other teams are you looking like favorites to win the tournament?
I mean, all the Asian teams are interesting. I mean,
Yeah,
it's one game.
me personally, I actually feel it's between 3 teams:
Mhm.
Brazil,
Okay.
North Korea, and Spain.
Spain has the reputation to have it right now, and they have a little bit more of the recent history, even though if you look at youth tournaments, a lot of the Asian countries, I don't normally start to say who I think is going to win until I've seen 2 games because your
Ah, okay,
first introductory
okay,
game is a little early.
that makes sense.
Because I mean, let's like talk about Cameroon. Like Cameroon played the Netherlands, and I mean they should have got a point out of that game, but I don't think many of us expected that. And so, is that a flash in the pan for them, or is that actually their level? So you want to see them play everyone play 2 games before you start to say,
Sure,
okay,
sure, sure,
this team's looking like this or that. And in my region, I'll say probably the US will look good because that's they always do at this level.
true.
But I mean, let's see what everyone looks like getting close to getting to the round of 16. But I mean, your picks aren't wrong. Spain, North Korea, Brazil are good choices. For Brazil, I want to see them against someone else that's again,
Ah, okay.
with all due respect to our hosts, Morocco. I want to see Brazil play someone else at this level. Morocco's
That
doing
makes
good
sense.
things. They're golden child of African football right now. They can do no wrong, apparently. Morocco wins the U20. They do well, but let's see how everyone looks after 2 games, and then we'll see.
Okay, okay. Thanks for joining me, Kusi. We're going to talk again after Nigeria's game against France to talk about the game and
Yes,
all that. So thanks for joining me, and do have a wonderful evening.
you as well, and all the best to everyone there.
All right.